AR-15 is one of the best-selling rifles in America. A lot has to do, of course, with its military heritage, but also because it's light in recoil, the ammunition is fairly inexpensive, and these guns are just very modular. One of the things, though, is there's so many companies now making AR-15s, it can get rather confusing on what's important and what's not, considering the price can run from $600 up to $3,000. And really, most of the basic components are the same as far as the parts. But really, what's important is looking at some of the specific parts and making sure they're up to military standards and beyond. And one of the things about BCM, which is one of my favorite, in fact it is my favorite AR-15 manufacturer for a lot of different reasons. But one of the things, they are very into the details. The parts are all high quality parts, they're all made in the USA. And one of the things that Paul Buffani, who is the owner and founder of BCM, is a strong Second Amendment supporter. But he also makes firearms knowing that the potential for them to be used in a real self-defense or combat situation is high. A couple of things that are really important with any rifle is the barrel and the bolt and bolt carrier group. That is that's the heart of your rifle, that's the most important element. And it's funny how a lot of companies will come in and sell inferior barrels or inferior bolt carriers, even the upper and lower receiver. But we're looking specifically at their Mod 0. This is their baseline rifle. This is their intro rifle. There are a lot of other models. In fact, I have the Recce, which is one of my favorite ARs. It's a beautiful rifle. There's a lot of huge upgrades all along, but the price is considerably more. And this is one that you can get into for a reasonable price, but still have all the quality that BCM offers with their barrel and their bolt carrier group, which is, again, the heart of your rifle. The great thing is, though, is BCM has also upgraded a lot of the standard Gunfighter parts on here to make this not only a base rifle, but it enhances a lot of the operating features. Magazine's out. We're going to double check to make sure it's empty, and it is. The weight on the rifle is 6.5 pounds. The overall length is 35.5, with the stock extended. With the stock collapsed, is 32.25. Now, they start out with a 16-inch barrel. It is the M4 configuration, which means that it does have the cut here for the M203 grenade launcher. It's a 1-in-7 twist. It's a chrome line barrel. Now, one of the things about this barrel too is it's independently certified. It's 11595E steel. Now, the 11595E steel is a CMV steel, which is up to military specifications. If a lot of commercial barrels that are out there are not up to military specs. Now, a lot of guys will say, well, mil spec is not the end all, and it's not, but it's definitely a good standard to follow when these will be accepted by the U.S. government, whereas a lot of just commercial barrels will not. And that says a lot in itself. It also has the phosphate finish on it, which absorbs oil and yet resists corrosion. The barrel is marked, which a lot of your barrels are not marked according to where you get them, but it says HP MP 1-in-7 twist and then 5.56 NATO. You can barely see it, but that's one of the identifications here on the barrel. The HP is high pressure testing. The MP is magnetic particle inspected. Those are really high criteria for these barrels. They're not batch inspected either. A lot of times they'll do a number of barrels, they'll just pull one out. These are individually inspected. Here also you can see the M4 feed ramps. This really helps with reliability, and also it's cut into the receiver. Now, while a lot of guys are going away from the standard A2 fixed sight tower, this is F marked. And it definitely gives you a really strong front sight no matter what. Most of your scopes, it will go through this anyway. Now, the upper and lower receiver are 70-75 T6 aluminum. There are AR-15s out there with the 60-65 T6. This is superior. Gives you better quality. BCM is very proud of their products, which is another thing. They will mark it and have it marked in different places. A lot of the AR-15s, they're getting generic parts or MEM parts and just whatever, and they're put together rifles. Also, the hard anodized finish is really nice, a little bit more of a black finish. To the side of the receiver, BCM Rifle Company, of course, with the model number and the serial number. We're going to take a look at the bolt carrier group. Again, part of the heart of your rifle. This is the M16 bolt carrier, which has the shroud that comes all the way here. If it cuts off right about here, it's an AR-15 bolt carrier. And there were some reasons they did that, but the M16 bolt carrier group is preferred. The gas key is properly staked with grade 8 fasteners. The bolt is 158 Carpenter steel. We're just going to go ahead and take it apart. One of the things that BCM does, when you get your rifle, it has a, well, it has a really good smell to it, the lubricants that they use, but it's already lubricated and ready. In fact, I took this straight out to the range and shot it as is because I knew that it was lubricated. And I also know that people a lot of times do that. They'll buy the gun and they'll just take it directly out. Here we have the bolt carrier, and again, I've been shooting. In fact, I shot about 300 rounds through this gun, so there was a lot of standard buildup. But this is 158 Carpenter steel again, which is up to military spec. Your extractor is tool steel, and it has the black washer. Now your bolt has been HPT or high pressure tested. It's been shot peened, and that's just little media that's been bombarded on here to harden the metal. And then it's been MPI, which means magnetic particle inspected. What this does, the inspection actually shows up any kind of imperfections or cracks or anything else that would appear in your bolt. And this is a very important part of your rifle. The interior of the bolt carrier is chrome plated, and so is the gas key, which adds to life, it keeps corrosion down, and it also adds to lubricity. The phosphate finish has been applied, and this really traps oil. Also, again, with the BCM logo, which means that they stand behind this bolt carrier. Right here at the buffer tube, the castle nut has been staked. This will keep it from rolling around. Now, that's become less and less of something you're seeing because a lot of people are taking their buffer tubes on and off, but this will show that this is properly done to military specifications. Now, while the BCM fire control system is military spec, they have upgraded it with a nickel boron finish that makes it really slick. It adds to lubricity. It's a really crisp trigger pull. A lot of times with the mil-spec rifles, there can be a lot of creep. It can be a heavy trigger pull. This is called their PNT trigger, and all the edges, the surfaces, bearing surfaces have been micro polished. And I've done a full review on this trigger set before. I really like it. Checking the trigger pull. Just a little tiny bit of take up and then a nice crisp snap. Now we're going to check reset. Very quick, very tactile. Now I have a Lyman trigger gauge. We're going to check the trigger pull. Breaking at about 6 pounds. 513. So we're looking at around the 6 pound mark. It was all in that area. I tried it a number of times. The Picatinny rail does have T-marks, so you can reattach your optic to where you took it off. I do have one of the BCM rear sights, but this is not included. Now there are a number of things though that have been upgraded for Gunfighter Parts. I mean, the rifle itself looks pretty basic. I mean, you can see that the stock and the grip are definitely different. But the things that are important have been changed by BCM. The Gunfighter stock is one of my favorite just basic stocks. Now with the rubber butt pad right here and then this large lever, this allows for even gross motor skills to be able to move this. And pull down and it pulls back into the 6 positions. It is a mil-spec buffer tube. And one thing too, it has QD points right here. There is a little small ledge right here on the bottom, and this will allow you to take and wrap ranger bands around here. And there's also a footman's loop right here to be able to put a sling. It also has a slight angle here that makes it really great for body armor. Now it has the Mod 3 grip, which has a better angle. The angle is actually more vertical than angled out horizontally, and then too, it's thicker right here, and this gets your finger pressure off of the trigger. It makes it more of a natural fit. There's also a storage compartment at the bottom. Just pulls loose, and this is rubberized, so it's going to seal it and it's going to hold it. It also has the Mod 4 charging handle, which has the medium lever, and this really makes it nice, especially if you have optics, because optics are going to come over and get in the way. This way you can grab hold of it and pull it back, and of course with the Gunfighter logo right across the top. These Gunfighter charging handles are my favorite. I have a number of others, but Gunfighter to me just makes great gear. The Mod Zero also has the BCM QD end plate, and this is a QD point for a single point sling. And there's also the BCM trigger guard, which comes down and gives you a little more room for gloved hands. And the mag well has been beveled a little bit, so it really allows for easy mag transitions. Now, one of my favorite features of most of BCM rifles is their compensators, because they look exactly like the A2 flash hider, pretty close. In fact, it's the same length and size. The difference is right here there's a cone that actually forces some of the gas to come out this direction. This is going to help mitigate some recoil and muzzle rise. It is flat on the bottom, so debris and dust don't come flying up if you're lying prone. You'll also notice the front of the muzzle brake has cuts in it, and this also is part of the compensation system. One of the great things is you don't have muzzle blast off the side like you do with a lot of compensators. Now at the range, there's a couple of things that you immediately notice when shooting this gun. The first is the lessening of recoil with the rifle and the lessening of muzzle rise. And that has everything to do with their compensator. The BCM compensator, now this is their A2, I believe it's their Mod Zero, it's their basic, it's the same size as an A2 birdcage, but it really tames the recoil and the muzzle rise. 5.56 doesn't have a whole lot of muzzle rise, but it does. It does have some, and it does have some recoil. This really makes a noticeable difference, especially when doing rapid firing. Of course, the other thing, you can't really see it, but the trigger group in here, their enhanced PNT trigger group, is just excellent. You know, the boron nickel, it's just really smooth, really crisp trigger. There's no creep like a lot. There's no excessive trigger pull. It has a really nice, solid, consistent pull. What that does, it helps with accuracy, and it also helps to be able to get second and third follow-up shots quickly and smoothly. Now the BCM Gunfighter stock, it gives you a little more beef here to put on your cheek. The soft recoil pad, it really helps when at the range. It's natural just to grab the whole lever and pull it back. The Mod 3 pistol grip also changes that angle, so it gives you more of a natural feel when in the hand. So really with the stock combination, the compensator, the trigger pull, all those things come together, so when you're at the range, you're really able to master the weapon, is really what it does. It helps you to keep the rifle on target. It keeps, of course, muzzle rise down. It just makes it for a much more pleasant experience. And the reliability, which I was not surprised at all, was fantastic. And no malfunctions, no bobbles, and that was what I expected. Now the sight I was using with the rifle was one of the Meprolite M21 reflex sights. It is a tritium with a fiber optic, no battery needed. And the review for this sight is coming up. Actually, I was debating on whether to do the Mod Zero first or this one. So you'll be seeing this coming up next. I got this at Optics Planet, and just a great source for optics. I've been buying stuff from Optics Planet for years, and this is just a great site. In fact, they even offer a 5% discount using Suit00. So check this out coming up next. For a basic gun to take right out to the range, honestly, just putting on optics, that's all you really need to do. Anybody that wants to put a light on here, of course, you know, there are some things you can do even with the standard clamshells. But other than maybe changing this out, there is nothing that needs to be done to this rifle to make it just a great range gun, great for self-defense. Every part on here is US made. It is to US government specs, so this gun can be fielded by the US military. Now again, there are rifles out there that are $5.99, and I'm telling you guys, there are places they're having to cut the cost. The price on the BCM retail price just for the Mod Zero, like it is with all the BCM Gunfighter upgrades, is $1,175. I did see it in a number of places for around the $1,000 range. Here's the thing about this rifle. These are in high demand, and they sell very quickly because the quality's there. You know, guys, you can get all the different quad rails and the free float handguards and all the different exotic stocks and things like that, but it doesn't really make a difference when it comes to the reliability, the shootability, and the long-lasting effect of the qualities that are in this rifle. Is this the only one that does that? No, there are others. There's some really good companies out there. You know, Daniel Defense, Noveske, LWRC, those are great companies, and they do great jobs. But the BCM for the money, it's really hard to beat. And if you're looking for a good basic rifle, not just one you want to just go out and plink on the weekends, but something you could depend your life on, BCM's definitely it. So the BCM M4 Mod 0, thumbs way up. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America, long live the Republic. The gas key is properly staked with great A. Okay. Great A. Great ape. Great. There's also a storage bottom. There's also a storage. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Oh, or your cigar. Most of the rest of it is, you know. So you're trying to decide if you want a BCM? I don't know. Have you got the Moxie? And I'll tell you guys, I mean, whether you buy it or not, that's your deal. But I think that the BCM is just a great rifle. I think I've said that 37 times now.